Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing Initiation. Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
We are. Let me introduce the crew real quick, starting off with the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to be initiated.
Yes, you are. You are. Also joining us is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah.
You got some great posters behind you.
Oh,
are they
canvases?
Yeah, is it real or is it you got?
No, it's real.
Okay. All
I
right.
actually didn't. Yeah, I'm not using a green screen this time, which is kind of strange, right? I thought, well, we'll see.
Is it real?
And it looks crooked, but I guess it's because my camera is crooked. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh my god, it looks crooked. So my camera is crooked. I'm like, fixing my camera.
OCD's kicking in.
No,
yeah,
no,
it's like a Dutch angle.
All right.
That
also joining us,
worse a fake dog.
Yep. Rounding out the crew is the one and only Dave Dreher, looking sharp. Looking sharp.
Yeah, I got everything hooked up to my new computer. I think it's looking pretty good.
You are sharp.
It looks brighter.
You got a new
too.
chair?
Yeah.
I got one of those ring light things. I'm getting like all professional and shit.
That's what it is. It does. It looks like, yeah.
I know. Now that I can see you, I've got a different thought about you. So we'll let you figure that out.
That's always. That explains those new pictures you've been sending me.
All right, what film are we looking at? We're looking at Initiation. It's available in theaters on demand and on digital May 7, 2021, directed by John Berardo, written by him as well, along with Brian Frager and Lindsay LaVanchy, who also stars in it, along with Froy, Gutierrez, Lochlyn, Munro, who you might recognize, and Yancy Butler, who you also might recognize, and Isabella Gomez. Tagline is "Murder is trending." Yeah.
And John Huertas.
Yes. And the synopsis is Whitton University unravels the night a star athlete is murdered, kicking off a spree of social media slangs that force students to uncover the truth behind the school's hidden secrets and the horrifying meaning of an exclamation point.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Nothing more terrifying than punctuation.
Who screamed
social
like that?
media
That's what I want. I just want to say that was not me screaming. It sounded like a girl, but it was not me. I don't know who did it. I was like, who did that?
That's the mystery you'll have to unravel here on the show. All right, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give our first impressions, and then we're going to talk about the film. We might dabble in the spoilers, we might not. It depends. This film, who knows? And then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Let's get started. Who am I going to pick on? You knew it was that.
Oh.
So, what was your first impression of Initiation?
Okay, so I'm going to start out with there's a couple things that I really loved about this movie. I will tell you that after I watched this movie, I loved the cinematography so much that I actually looked up the guy and went and commented on his Instagram because I loved his work so much. His attention to detail was just phenomenal. Just these little elements and the shots and the way that he captured it. And I mean, without giving anything away, when someone gets kicked over and they're naked, I don't know. I really love all those little chairs in the way so you don't see things and stuff. It's silly, but it gets me.
That was very Austin Powers.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's a good one. And I really liked the two female leads a lot. I was really impressed by them. I feel like they did an amazing job. Now, as far as the rest of the movie, well, that's where we have an issue. It starts off and the whole movie is a little bit of a caricature on college life. And it's obvious, but it's not so obvious that it's funny or makes sense. And when it starts off, for the longest time, I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, is this going to actually become a horror movie at some point? Because I thought it was maybe more of like a Lifetime movie dealing with a sensitive subject. So it's a very awkwardly told, awkwardly written story. And some of the acting from some of the other people is awkward as well. And it just doesn't make sense or flow or feel right in any way. If it wasn't for the cinematography and the two leads, would be it would have been a really difficult movie for me to watch, unfortunately. The story just does, it's still okay. Even when you get to the end, you're like, oh, yeah. Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Dave, do you have anything else to add to this? I'm sure you had a different experience with Initiation. What was your first reaction?
Well, I was just about to give up on this one. This is one where the third reel, if you will, kind of saves the day on this. Once they, and I don't think this is giving away anything too spoilery, but once they get locked in the office building or wherever they're at, the administrative office or something, that from that point on, it's actually a pretty decent film. But they spend a lot of time setting up the whole, beforehand thing with the social media and what happens. Again, I don't know how spoilery we want to get here. But some of it was groan worthy. I mean, I thought the fact that lady was like running her own DNA, trying to investigate the case seemed to be a bit much, but, it was just like some of that in there. But once we get to that point where the killings begin, I kind of liked it. What was that? What was he using? Was it a nail gun? What was it? Was it just a drill?
I think it was a drill.
But he was using
it was like
long
a
nails, right?
Yeah, it was like big lag bolts with a like a socket on a drill.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of original and different a little bit. So yeah, I mean, my first impression is if you're gonna take the time to watch this, give it some time, because it does kind of pay off a little bit in the end.
Yeah, it gets to where it wants to go. It takes its sweet time getting there, but it gets to where it wants to go, right?
Yes.
All right, Jeff Mohr, sir. What about you? What was your first impression of Initiation! Exclamation.
Well, I think with Dave in this. As I started watching this, my first thought was, I may not be the right age group for this one. Something about, I'm like, oh no, not another college party gone wild horror movie. So I wasn't digging that part at all, but something serious happens fairly quickly. And from that point on, I was following that. Crystal called it awkward, but I thought it might actually be the way it unfolds. Certain people know certain things. Nobody really knows everything. Little bits get out here and there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I know the reason why their storytelling failed, but I'll tell that.
Well, I didn't think it failed. I enjoyed it.
Totally did.
So you can tell why you thought it was failed.
The reason why it failed is from whose perspective they told the story from. It needed to be from the victim, so you would care. Instead, they told it from an external source. The storytelling was the absolute issue here. We didn't care because we weren't told to care. We weren't showed to care. Well, they showed one scene of her where she had a fit. Sorry, Jeff, it's your show.
But I did care. I did care.
You did care.
I did care. So instead, it's told from the point of view of the sister of this guy. But anyway, I thought the again, the two actors that played Ellery and Kylie were awesome. I thought they did a great job, especially when she gets some specific news from the cops. I thought that was an incredible scene.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
That may be one of the better acted scenes like that I've seen in a while. For me, they kind of kept it. They kind of kept it all the way down the line. It starts off with there's maybe 3 or 4 possible people, but then some of those people start getting killed off. 3 or 4 possible culprits or killers, and those people start getting killed off down the line. But even at the end, at least in my mind, there was still 2 possibles, and there was something about it that I didn't pick up on, a relationship in there that I hadn't figured out ahead of time until they reveal it. So anyway, I started off thinking, oh no. And by the end of it, I thought, this is pretty good. It's very well acted. It looks great. I kind of dug the lag bolt killer thing. I'm not sure why. It's like, who knows why we pick the tools we do to commit murder. But
if it was a drill, it would be poetic in a way.
Yeah.
Driller killer. That one.
So anyway, I'll stop there. I enjoyed it. Does it have some faults? Of course, but I thought in general the acting was pretty good and the plot kept me guessing.
The plot kept you guessing. It did me too, but it felt so Scooby-Doo to me, almost literally.
I don't even know what that means.
Scooby-Doo, like pulls out the mask and it's somebody else.
I know what Scooby-Doo is, but I never watched it. So.
You've never watched Scooby-Doo?
You never watched Scooby-Doo?
I'm an old man. I'm an old man. I am so old, my kids didn't even watch Scooby-Doo.
No,
I watched Scooby-Doo.
I watched Scooby-Doo. All right. Okay. But anyway, this movie had had many right elements, right? I like the cast as well. I like the other lead girl as well. That's in the last 3 that are in the trapped. I thought she was fine as well.
Shailene.
Yeah. I don't know if I like too many other people other than the day players that we talked about, the cop and the
oh my god, the principal though.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the best scenes when he takes on the killer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it had me guessing, but I wasn't really invested in guessing. So I don't know. It doesn't entirely work as a slasher. It doesn't entirely work as a mystery. It doesn't entirely work as this drama thing that they're doing. They don't take it. They don't. I mean, when
that's the problem, right? Is it serious or is it not serious?
Right.
That's I think because I went to college, I went to parties, and none of my parties were like that. Did we play beer pong? Sure, yes, but I mean, come on. Like, how ridiculous is it with the whole exclamation points and all this? That stuff kept.
Actually, that was a lot like the start of Facebook.
With exclamation points to
exclamation
point
points,
out the horrors.
They started off by rating girls on the campus.
Oh, sure, yeah, but not
the ratings got to mean other things, so they're always going to mean other things. So.
Yeah. And that wasn't really a big part. It ended up it's what the selling point is, but it's not a big part, right? It's
the whole reason why she even kind of noticed it, remember? Because the exclamation point when she's brushing her teeth.
Oh yeah, well,
kind of what, and she's like, "What is this about?" And so she starts. Okay,
but
really,
I don't know this. Okay, so I want to say that when it went slasher, and we got to see some fun special effects and gore. I mean, it wasn't elaborate, but it was they weren't mundane, right? They were creative enough to elevate it above the common stuff.
The coach, give me a break. Come on.
That was
Really?
good,
Like,
right?
I laughed, of course, because he's so ridiculous.
So he's so over the top, right?
That's
so
why
stereotypical.
that's what's so hard about this. It's, well, for one, it's kind of a pisser because they're dealing with such a serious subject, and I feel like they're kind of making a joke about it because of the way that the movie is done. So maybe that's why I feel this way about it, because I'm like, why is this like a joke? Because it's clearly not serious the way it's written. It can't be.
Mhm.
It just can't be. It's so over the top. It's so silly. It's so ridiculous. Like the dude Bo wearing his cross and stuff. Like he's such a good guy. I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, and he was so awkward, right? So just it was pretty much stereotyped. Everybody was stereotyped. That's why the lead stood out so much, because I think she was
so good.
She was less stereotyped than anybody else, and she had her own kind of thing going on. And you understood her position in with the other girls. She was the leader of the pack, if you will. She was the one that was in charge to take care of them. She's going to come and stay with us. She took.
And I totally get
Right.
her being not necessarily believing her. I was totally fine with. Okay, I just think that had they focused on the victim, who is an equally phenomenal actress as well, and just made us, because they took her out of the picture and only dealt with her via text, and then she had one. I was like, damn, it just pulled me completely away from what I thought was supposed to be the most important part of it.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just confusing to me. It confused me. I'm like, okay, so someone is killing these people. Why? At first, I really didn't know why. Because I'm like, well, is it a girl or a guy? And I kept watching the body, and I was like, well, it's kind of a little person. It's not someone who's huge. So you knew it wasn't the big nerdy dude that was so obvious and creepy.
Mhm.
Once again, another caricature of.
A little too much of one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, when he started whining and crying. Oh my God. So Dave, you mentioned that the third act basically won you over and turned the tide, if you will.
Yes.
Because and Crystal also mentioned that the one scene is the battle, right, between the principal guy
So
and
funny.
the dean, I guess I should say.
Yeah, the dean and the.
What made that stand out? Why did you recognize that worked?
Oh, you're talking to me?
I'm talking to Dave.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, for me, it wasn't such a standout moment for me. I mean, other than he kind of rushes out of nowhere. I mean, we're not really prepared for a battle at that point in time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, to be clear, I was talking about the entire third act. So.
that entire yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just because I was so goddamn bored watching the rest of it. I mean, something was
There you
finally
go.
starting to
Right.
happen. I mean, from the minute when that big goofy dude walks in and goes, "Hey man, the doors are all locked and I can't get out," the dean goes, "I'll be with you in a minute." Just so we know something's up. And none of the phones work. They can't. There's no wireless signal. There's no Wi-Fi. So something's being set up. So it just got kind of good. The killer isn't particularly. I mean, we've seen this masked killer before. The same thing. This seems to be kind of a go-to, guy in a black cape, and he's just got some kind of a mask on. So he wasn't particularly terrifying looking, but I did like his that implement that he used. I thought that was really creative. So
sticking people to the
like I said,
doors
but I
and
really
walls.
think it's just because that whole the whole previous storyline with the brother and the sister and the accusations, and then we find out their previous accusations and and all that. I mean, it did. It played, like Crystal said, it played out like a Lifetime movie.
It did.
My brother the pervert or whatever.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure I'm not sure why we had to have the scene with the guy trying to rub one out. While we were,
that was so
so
weird.
Yeah, it was just really oddly placed. I'm not quite sure why that was there.
Why then? What?
Yeah,
what
Why
brought that
not
on? Well, I guess.
It's funny because that's the part that I did. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that part. I guess
I mean,
it was just
what
oddly-
it
it was
is.
just
You're all
oddly
about that, huh?
placed. I don't know. It
Well,
was just
I
an
mean,
oddly
thought it was-
placed
considering
thing.
what we've been saying, I mean, it was
Yes,
pretty
I thought it
tame.
was a little refreshing to see. Like we had all these girls in the sorority, and there was no real like quote unquote cheesecake or shower scenes
No,
or
there was no
anything
real
like you
T&A
see in
or
these
anything like
movies
that,
a
yeah.
lot. But you
That's
see
true.
it. You see the guy's bare bud and him, as Dave so aptly put, rubbing one out.
Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't offended by the scene. I just it was
Right,
just like
right.
what an odd. I don't know, just an odd place for it.
It
I
is.
don't know.
It is.
So not only that, but they wanted to put every cliche with like the dean or whatever he is wanting to cover up what she found out and stuff too. You see, that's why
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah,
I
we hate to-
think I
hate to
am
tarnish
not
you.
happy. Yeah, I think that's why I'm not happy with this movie. I'm like, are you trying to be a joke, or are you trying to take this seriously? And I just don't believe that they were trying to take it seriously. And if they weren't trying to take it seriously, maybe they should have dealt with a different subject matter or written it in a different way, or it's just odd
Yeah,
and kind of inappropriate, really.
well, it did.
There was some.
One,
For,
I was just going to say one scene actually did work out really well, and Jeff, you mentioned it, so I was going to ask you to kind of elaborate on it, and that's the scene where she finds out about her brother dying.
Yeah.
So, why did her performance there stand out more so than other ones we've seen?
well, I think because she literally like goes into sort of a type of shock where she can't believe it, she can't cope with it, and she's going to try to prove it wrong, and it's not working. And she does it over and over and over again. And then finally it starts to hit her. And it looked real to me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Her
I think
emotion.
I think it's a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like how she
yeah.
thought through it, how she thought through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It was a process, right? Instead of a just break down into crying or scream. And sometimes that stuff doesn't look all that real. And this just felt really real to me. Like she really, how someone would feel with that.
Yeah, many films wouldn't take their time with that scene, right? They wouldn't take their time.
Yeah,
with
no, I did have a problem with. There's a couple things in the end that I don't know that I want to bring up without spoiling it that I thought made absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I still don't know. Maybe I'll ask you guys when we get done. But, Dave said, why is he killing these people? Well, I understand why he killed the people he killed,
Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah.
understand
Why he decided he had to kill the people? Why he went that
well,
far?
why
right?
he was. I'm not going to say it. I'll stop.
Or
So,
she.
Or she.
he or she.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't know why I said he.
Oh, I got to defend the mask, by the way, the mirror mask.
Yeah.
Once again, it goes back to the cinematography. You could see when when the killer straddled the dude, you could see it through his mirror mask. That's what I'm saying. The cinematographer was so good. So good. I was like, dude.
That might be the thing.
Jonathan Pope, I think, if I remember his name correctly.
Yeah.
So good. So good. You should use him in your movies. There's someone out there watching. He's phenomenal.
That's the takeaway. Hire Jonathan Pope. All right.
And the
let's-
actress.
And the actress.
They're good too.
All right. Let's wrap this up and give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, if you're listening just for review, we want to thank you for not only, just hanging out with us. And we hope you not only like this review, but other reviews that we have out there on YouTube and Apple Podcast, among other, podcast devices. So check them out. If you want to support us, easy to do. You can hit the subscribe button, share with a friend, and that will do us wonders. And we love feedback. Give us some, let us know what you think down below. We really love it. And we also want to thank our patrons real quick over at Patreon. Without their support, we would not be able to do not only this podcast, the Gruesome Magazine podcast, but Horror News Radio, Decades of Horror, and Heroes and Droids. We release a show every weekday, just so you know. There's a lot to check out. Variety.
Is a spice of life.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this. Let's do it. Crystal, I believe you are up first. Your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene.
Okay, so I think a lot of people are gonna like it. This movie, I don't think that they will think as hard about It is. I have. I think if it had had another subject matter, I would have been a lot easier on it. It's just kind of messy in the way it's put together and the way it's shown, in my opinion. But you know, the gore is fun. The killings are fun, and I think the killer's kind of cool. I like the look of it. So I mean, there's some positives, as long as you're okay with. If you maybe if you just turn it off and just watch it, you're gonna love it. Just love it. Yeah, turn the volume off. I mean, like, yeah, so you don't know what's happening. It's crazy. I'll give it a 2.75.
Oh,
And-
okay.
Yeah. Because it's shot well. I believe the acting is good, and it deserves some kudos for its kills. And I think that the end, as far as even the reasoning behind that, that's actually totally cool for me. I would absolutely get why that would happen. It's just all that beginning part that. But anywho, and of course, my favorite scene is when masturbation's lost its fun.
Oh my god! Oh my god! He had the wrong kind of hand job, didn't he? The knife right through the hand.
Yeah.
Oh, that too.
Not the ending. Not the ending he was looking for.
No, not a happy ending. All right. What did I say? Dave, you're up next, sir. Your final thoughts, your score, 1 to 5, and your favorite scene.
I'm glad I stuck with this one because, like I said, I was starting to fade on it. It came to life right at the right moment for me. And I'm glad I've seen it. It's not a great movie, but it's not a horrible movie. Everything we've said here is true. So, it's well made. It's well acted. So, yeah, give it a shot. Is this one coming to a service, or what's this one doing?
This is VOD at this point, but look for it later on a service. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but I agree with Crystal. I'm giving it a 2.75 as well. And I'm going to go with our first slaughter scene when we get the first look. We get the first look at not only the rather cool implement that he's using, but just how barbaric this person is.
Yeah.
So it was good. So I knew once the killing started, I knew we were going to be in for some good kills, and the first one is a good one.
Yeah, and we have no inkling it's going to go that direction at all until it does, right?
No, until it does. Then it's balls to the walls the whole way.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff Mohr, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a favorite scene here because
You can do it. You can do it.
There's
Sir.
enough.
It's because
There's
Crystal stole the
Yeah.
masturbation scene.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know what? I'll take the death scene, or the not the death scene, but the informing of the death scene that we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
That was
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly
That's a good
impressed by that.
Yeah.
I've always liked John Huertas and like Yancy Butler. She didn't have they didn't have huge parts as far as on screen time, but they were a good addition. I think maybe I'm sitting here thinking about it. It almost seems like the guys were more stereotypes versus the women, because I felt like the women that
seemed more real. Yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
So and I didn't have the problems that Crystal talked about in terms of whether it's serious or not. I just took it for what it was. I was thinking maybe, I don't know why she dealt with it from that point of view of the sister, unless it would just seem like something she just wanted to look at it from a different viewpoint. I have no idea why. We should ask the writers, I guess. So I'm giving this a 3.
Nice.
And I'm going to, my favorite scene.
Oh, I thought you were going to go.
Oh,
with
I already
the-
did it. I already
Yeah,
did favorite
You
scene.
did.
So never mind.
Yeah.
3.
You just went out of order.
Yeah, and
I was
I
trying
think
to say,
it's a
I
fun
think it's a
movie.
great
I
scene.
do have a major problem with something that was happening at the end that I'll talk with my fellow
That's
podcasters.
interesting.
Otherwise, I might go a little bit higher.
Oh, because for me it was a Scooby-Doo moment. But the I was like, what have I gotten myself into with the beginning of this film? It did feel very much like a PSA kind of Lifetime after school special movie, and I was like, oh no, let me see if I can get in focus here. And then I was like, but I will say that the lead actress was saving it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't ready to throw in the towel because I thought she was really good. And I will say that I think she's also one of the writers. And
Oh,
Jeff,
she is.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
yeah,
That makes.
and I think she wrote that scene, Jeff, the one you like the
Hmm.
best. I feel like that's one scene she wrote. Um, there's a few of them that kind of feel different, and I'm no, I'm putting a quarter in
Yeah,
the jar,
I think
right?
the
Mm-hmm.
scene between her and Kylie too on the steps was another one that
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
felt real to me, where she had a sort of a heart to heart with her.
yeah. I mean, there's plenty in here to like, but yet at the same time, it's so it doesn't feel like it knows what it wants to be. There's a couple of different choices and parallels that it's doing, and they don't necessarily work together. And because like sometimes it's funny, right? Like the one guy, the tall guy, comes out and he goes like, how do we get out of here? And they go, try a door, and he's like, oh, okay. And then they go, come with me to the bathroom. Let's get out of here. It's
He's
played
weird.
like, and it's played like Abbott Costello or something funny, but it but then other times it's downright serious, right? They take it, they try to take the elements real serious, like when she's in the room by herself, contemplating everything, and or yeah. But even like her reaction compared, when she's in with the dean, her reaction doesn't match the dialogue he's
Him.
giving him, right?
Exactly.
And it was so weird. It's like, well, you're being funny, but she's like, you know, giving us her, the close up moment of where's my Oscar scene, and it just feels weird, right? Am I wrong, Crystal?
No, I'm totally with you. That's why it's
What? Which one are you
confusing.
talking about?
The scene where he is telling her not to tell people, right, about
Right,
the
right. Because
yeah.
I thought
Yeah, yeah.
he,
Well, at
he
first
was
he accuses
Oh,
her
that's
first
stuff.
of using school equipment.
yeah. So I thought he was chewing the scenery a little bit, and then she was being
Oh,
dead
I
serious. So,
just I don't know. I thought
yeah.
he looked exactly like a bureaucratic.
Well, yeah, he was doing that. That's for sure. I mean, it's yeah.
Hmm.
You may others may not see that extreme, but for some reason that's how it played out to me. But anyway, I'm going to give it. I think a 2.75 is right on the money here. I was going to do 2.5, but I think the parts that the last third, really goes a long way to save the film, and I think people will enjoy that part of it quite a bit, and makes it worth checking out, I think. And the performance, and like you said, the cinematography. Uh, my favorite scene is actually I just thought there's one point where everybody's on the run from the killer in this place where they're trapped, and two of the girls go into this classroom, uh, and there's to set it up, the building is set up with a courtyard in the middle, so it has it's totally like a castle, right, on a moat and everything, right? So it's got this courtyard in the middle, and the glass windows go to the courtyard, and their third friend is still out there waiting for them, and the phones aren't working, they can't communicate, and the killer's out there, and they can see her. She can't see Yen because of the way the windows work, and they can't communicate. And I thought it worked out as a really tense scene because the killer's doing something, doesn't necessarily, there's a lot going on, and I felt the fear that the girls were feeling at the time. I was really into that scene, and it could have went a whole bunch of different directions, but they really kind of kept it pulled back. They didn't really. They could have really made a big splatter or something kind of gross, but they really just kept that tension on that scene, and I appreciated that. So there you go.
Yay.
That was a good scene.
Hmm?
All right.
Yeah, well,
It was all shot better than my camera is shooting us right now.
For
So,
sure. Better than any of these camies.
so that is our review of Initiation. It's going to be on demand and VOD at this time. So if you feel so inclined, check it out and let us know what you think down below in the comments. Jeff, Dave, Crystal, thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Doc.
Thank y'all.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.